These are the notes for assignment A5. You'll want to have your calculator out because the first part of this is just being familiar with the calculator and the buttons to push to do exponents. So have that calculator out as we do this first section here. So notice we have our directions. It's always good to read those directions. Answers should be a whole number or fraction. So we do not want decimal form for these. When we are using our calculators, I'm going to switch over to our calculator. All right, so the whole number, the big number, is the base. So we're going to type that base in. And then if you notice all the way over on the right-hand side where your add, subtract, multiply, and divide is, right above division, you can see it in red on the screen, is a raised to the power of button, or I may refer to it as a caret top button. This raises to an exponent. Now this is my TI-84 calculator, and you can see the little cursor box goes up into the exponent position. If you have a TI-83, it may just show the caret top symbol on the calculator. If you have an 83, writing the rest of this exponent in parentheses is important. So it says that it's 3 times 2. So we're going to type that in just like that. If you have the 84, like my calculator on the screen, you don't need the parentheses. If you have an 83, you have to have the parentheses. So keep that in mind, and we can hit enter. And that one just gives us a whole 4,096. So this one is 4,096, and it's done. Next, we're going to have 7 to the negative 2 power. And I guess I should have started off by showing some type of definition here for base and exponent, because I just started right into all of that. So let's say we have some value, and it doesn't matter, so I'll call it x, raised to some exponent. So the exponent is the little number, right? So we're gonna, let's just label that. This is your exponent, and this is your base, just so you have those parts and pieces. The exponent tells you how many times you're going to actually multiply out the base. But we don't have to know those rules because we're just going to let our calculator take care of things for us. All right, so the next one says 7 to the negative 2 power. So we can get our 7, and we're raising it up, so we have to use our raised to the power of. And then the negative 2, you have to use the negative that's beside the decimal, beside the enter button. Don't use the subtraction button that's above addition. Negative 2, and then we'll enter. And this one gives us a decimal. And remember, we don't want decimal answers. We want whole numbers or fractions. So a nice thing here is that your calculator will change this to a fraction for you. So watch the buttons on the calculator here and then make a note on your notes. If you hit the math button, you'll see it's in red on your screen. Right below the second and alpha button is math. The very first entry is turn it to a fraction. So you just hit enter and then hit enter again to tell it that's what you want it to do. And now you can see the answer 1 over 49. So this equals 1 over 49. So on this one, we want to hit math, enter, enter. That's a nice one to know because you'll get to use that throughout the rest of the semester. Number 3, I'll clear this out. So we want, it shows on our paper that the fraction is in parentheses, so we want to type that out. Parentheses 5 divided by 9. Remember, the fraction bar means division. Close the parentheses, so we have the whole fraction in parentheses. Raised to the power of, and that's a negative 3, not a minus 3 for the calculator, so negative 3. And we'll hit enter. And again, it's given us a decimal and we want a fraction, so we'll math, enter, enter, and we get the fraction answer. So this one is 729 over 125. And again, we used math enter so that we could turn the decimal from the calculator into a fraction. Another way you can type number 3 in the calculator, and I really like this function, but it only works on the 84. So if you have an 83, you can forward through this. If you hit alpha, so the green button or the button right below second, and then Y equals, which is the very top left corner button, and then enter, it will actually give you a fraction on the screen. So I'm actually going to back out of that and put my parentheses like the problem has. And it's 5 over, so I go down to get my denominator, 9. And then I'm going to have to arrow out of the fraction so I can close my parentheses. And then when I raise it to the -3 power, it actually gives it to me as a fraction. So obviously both ways get you to the same answer, but that's a nice little way to have the fraction show up, numerator over denominator, like we saw in the notes. All right, 9 to the 1/2 power. All right, so we're going to do 9 raised to, and when we do the 1/2 power, so those of you with an 83 again, we're going to put all of that in the parentheses, 1 divided by 2, 1/2 power, and enter, and we get that that is just a whole number 3. All right, let's do another one. So we're going to do 512 to the -1/3 power. So 512 raised 2, and again, if it's more than just one number in the exponent, then you want to put that in parentheses on the 83, All right, so that's 0.125, and we will math enter, and make that a fraction, so that one is 1/8. Okay, one more of these. This one's pretty straightforward. 16 to the 0.25 power. So we'll say 16 raised to the 0.25. Don't need parentheses around that because there's no operation going on. And that is just 2. So hopefully you feel a little more comfortable in your calculator for those notes. And we will do one more video for the next section.